the 1B channel of the starboard 6 truss of the International Space Station. 2 spacewalkers inside the equipment lock right now, already in their suits, and completed some of their in-suit exercise and pre-breathing exercises to purge nitrogen from their bodies, already suited up and about to head out the door for a start time today at 6:35 a.m. Central Time. Suited up in the right is EV-1 Chris Cassidy, International Space Station Commander of Expedition 63. On the left is Bob Behnken, Flight Engineer and crew member of Expedition 63, as well as the Joint Operations Commander of the SpaceX Demo 2 mission. Assisting in the suit-up process right now on the forward left end,
at 10:01.
Robotics officers on the ground are right now maneuvering the external pallet. You can see the movement of the arm right now. This is a look at the work site where Cassidy and Behnken will be spending the at least first half of today's spacewalk out at the far end of the station's starboard truss near those solar arrays. The batteries that they are swapping out are the units that will store the power that the solar arrays provide. That pallet containing the 1 new lithium-ion battery that will be installed on the 1B channel. There's 3 more lithium-ion batteries on that pallet. They will be saved for the 3B channel on the other side. It'll be on the other side of the starboard truss. After today's primary task of installing that new lithium-ion battery, they'll head over to the other side after cleaning up their work site and making sure that that lithium-ion battery is checked out and providing power to the 1B channel. And they'll start the prep work for the 3B channel. Now you're hearing good leak checks right on the timeline now to get our 2 spacewalking astronauts out the hatch on time, 6:35 a.m. Central. Here's some of the work that they'll start with. Right here, this is a look at the graphic of where we are right now. Cassidy and Behnken pretty much did an EVA and a half on June 26, blasting through their timeline and completing all the objectives and some of the objectives that were originally scheduled for today. So here's the configuration that they last completed, moving an old nickel hydrogen battery from slot 6 over to slot 4. The first task on today's spacewalk will be to install a new lithium-ion battery into slot 6. That'll be the last lithium-ion battery to be installed on this channel. Now, of course, for the lithium-ion battery to work with the channel, they'll have to take out the nickel-hydrogen battery and install an adapter plate. That will be the last task of the battery upgrade work, all in slot 5. And on the external pallet there, you see on the left, they'll take that adapter plate over to slot 5, hook it up to the lithium-ion battery in slot 6, make sure the power is checked out, and that'll complete the work for the 1B channel. Doug Hurley maneuvering the Canadarm 2 as we speak from the inside. We're starting to get a little bit of sunlight as the space station flies into an orbital daytime over the Pacific Ocean just west off the coast of California.
Copy that. Copy. The sun. Here comes the sun, yeah. All right, I'm at my early point, and I am releasing.
Copy that, Chris.
Fair lead.
And Chris, after that, you'll head all the way out to the anchor hooks below the outboard Cedar cart.
Okay, copy. Anchor hooks. I've arrived at the Cedar cart.
Copy, Bob.
Some great views of the astronauts making their way out to the work site. We just had an orbital sunrise. The station just off the coast of Oregon right now, about to pass over the western United States. Over at the far side, closest to the starboard 6 Truss, is Bob Behnken. Coming up on the rear here is EV1 Chris Cassidy.
Looking at Bob's anchor on 3060. The big hook is closed and locked. It's good. And I'm looking at mine.
Copy, Bob.
3061. My anchor point on 3061 is also closed and locked. Good config.
Copy, Chris. Thanks. We'll take gauntlet checks, and then you'll proceed outboard to your green hook location at handrail 2004.
2004, both left and right gauntlets are in place.
Copy, and I have a couple warnings and cautions for both of you when you're ready to copy.
That's good for me. How about you?
That was good for me as well. I was just double checking that the arm is in a good configuration for me to continue.
Hey, firm, it's in a good config and brakes are on. You are good to continue.
Copy.
Okay, warnings. EP wheels are no touch for pinch points. EP PVGF grapple shafts and curvet coupling teeth are no touch. Cautions, translate only on handrails. Do not impart loads into any ORU on the external pallet. No sudden movements on the EP. Maintain less than 0.45 feet per second translation speed. Wait until pallet motion dampens out before imparting any loads. How copy?
EV1 copies.
EV2 copies.
And I'm outboard of the Sarge.
Copy.
Okay, Doug, I'm coming onto the pallet.
Copy, you're clear, brakes are on.
Copy that.
So that read out to Behnken was for Behnken to configure his space drill, the PGT. He'll get that ready as Cassidy prepares to, he's already on actually, the external pallet. That pallet contains that new battery. That'll be the first task of the day, getting the new lithium-ion battery from the pallet over to the station's truss.
307. And then you'll tend the PGT and ratchet to the outside of the bag, leaving them on the RET series.
Okay, copy all. That's how it works. Okay, I think I'm ready to get off the pallet. Jasmine, if you agree.
Yeah, Chris, we'll just take a glove, hat, and gauntlet check from you, and then you're go.
Okay. Gloves are same as egress. Reconfig, cap dry. Gauntlets, place.
Copy. Chris, good checks. And on Doug's go, you can ingress the EP APFR, and I have some cautions for you when ready, for both of you.
Just to verify, the PGT adjustable goes to H2 on the DCSU, correct?
That's correct, Bob.
And the right glove is also in pristine condition except for some additional smudging. I think the smudging is coming from the black stripe on the bumpers, is my best guess. Bumpers with the alignment stripe.
Copy on the smudging, Bob. Okay, and you can translate towards the EP.
Copy.
So that final readout was the settings of the foot restraint over at the integrated electronics assembly. That foot restraint will be used once the lithium-ion battery is removed from the pallet. The next objective here, the next work site where Cassidy and Behnken will both be. Bob Behnken now heading over to that work site. The foot restraint over at the electronics assembly that Behnken was just checking in a good configuration for when it's ready to install onto the truss.
Doug. Chris. Now, rotating, Bob. Back.
H2 refers to a specific bolt on the lithium-ion battery, so Behnken knows which end to grab. The RET being referred to as a retractable equipment tether, just making sure that the battery is secured at all times.
I've got the battery.
You've got the battery. I'm reaching my RET. A funny RET angle. Okay, RET's off.
I've got the battery. And I'm ready to start, course.
Okay, coming out. Remind me with that safety tether stuff, is mine going in front of the APFR or behind?
Your safety tether is going in front of the APFR right now.
Copy, thanks.
So you may have to.
I might have to do
pass it over the top.
Yeah.
Alpha 7, counter 2.
You'll be going to H1, confirm socket tape lines flush, looking for 8 turns to release the battery.
The H1 for 8 turns.
Looks flush.
Here we go. Indicator's moving. There's 8 turns. The indicator indicates unlocked.
Copy, same settings, Alpha 7, counter 2 for H2. Confirm the socket tape lines flush, looking for 19 turns.
The socket tape line is flush. Understand 19 turns.
A-firm.
Battery's moving.
I agree.
Indicator's moving.
It's coming out nicely. Access to tools in addition to the ingress aid. Copy that. Okay. Fuel spill in, ingress aid is tucked. I can get the tools.
Okay, copy, Chris. With that, once you're ready, Bob, you'll be handing H2 off to Chris, and Chris, you're going to want your BRT ret on the battery tether point.
Copy. I just can't reach the battery tether point. I'll fix it later. I am ready, Bob.
Okay.
I have control.
Okay, you have control of the battery. I'll release my ret. Okay. My ret has been released.
Okay, copy that.
And Chris, you'll want the H2 scoop in your BRT.
Okay. The camera's up there by you, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. I'm in your way.
In the background, you can see Chris Cassidy with camera in hand as Behnken continues some of the cleanup work on the 1B channel. as Cassidy and Behnken continue to clean up here and move on to their next task at the 3B channel, get some of the work done ahead of time, breaking torque on some bolts and installing some handling aids in preparation for the work to be done later this month. Continue to ask questions to us using the hashtag AskNASA. We have one from Micah who's asking, when changing batteries, what are some parts of the International Space Station that are turned off? As you can imagine, there are quite a few nearing the solar arrays. The solar arrays themselves are always angled towards the sun, but are turned off for this spacewalk. Also, the thrusters on the outside are disabled for the duration of the spacewalk.
Let me know when you're ready.
We are ready, Bob, as long as you're good for a pause and comm.
I am good for a pause and comm.
And Chris, at hand roll 2015, you'll translate outboard, and you want to go over the FRGF to S6 with 6. And you want to route your tether clear of that FRGF pin and grapple shaft.
Am I going inboard of the A-frame or outboard?
Outboard.
Outboard. Copy.
I'll take the APFR settings now, Jasmine.
Fox 12.
Foxtrot 12 is set. I've arrived at my green hut.
Copy, Bob. You can retrieve the green hook.
Cassidy and Behnken have completed the upgrades of the 1B channel, 3 lithium-ion batteries installed and checked out. Now at its fully upgraded configuration. They've also done a lot of the prep work on the 3B channel. This is on the other side of the far starboard 6 truss. They've broken and reset torque on the 6 nickel hydrogen batteries that are currently installed. They've also installed some gap spanners and put some portable foot restraints in places where they'll be easier to access later this month. Here's a great view of Bob Behnken making his way up one of the solar array segments to remove something called an H fixture. This is one of those items that was originally on the Get Ahead task, now timelined for this spacewalk after completing the 1B and 3B prep work, 1B channel upgrades and the 3B channel prep work. This H fixture removal will be for some future power system upgrades, just one of those nice-to-haves that was part of the get-aheads for these 2 spacewalks for the 1B channel.
Now we're going to fish it through.
Yeah, A-firm, and you'll release wire tie number 1 with 1 twist and then insert the cable through that MLI gap towards Alpha 102 panel.
All 4 bolts are loose at this point, Jasmine.
Copy that, Bob. With that, you can use the adjustable equipment tether strap that's on the tether point to pull the H fixture from the GSE pad.
Copy.
Here we go.
And Bob, before you do that, can you confirm they're all popped out?
Yes, I can confirm that all 4 are popped out.
Copy, thanks. And you'll want to, as you do that, Bob, rotate the H fixture away from the GSE pad to release it.
I am putting a pretty big load into it, and it's not budging, so high bar does much.
Copy, Bob. And Bob, when you go to grab that pry bar, recommend you go ahead and grab the AMS tube puller at the same time in case we need it.
Okay.
This is Mission Control Houston. Bob Behnken now heading over to his tool bag, pulling the H fixture straight out. Didn't quite seem to work, so he's going to get some more tools and try a pry bar and then some additional tools if necessary, trying to get that H fixture removed.
My fair lead is in on 3410.
And while I'm working my fair lead,
Copy.
maybe you can grab the GoPro, which is right at the base of the pseudosphere.
Okay, I'll do that.
And we do want Chris to lead back into the airlock.
Okay, so you want me to loiter here. And let Chris head back to the airlock. I can still get the GoPro because you got the bag, so okay, take care of. I think I'm out of your way.
And this one is mine, right? Yep.
I see the GoPro on the airlock.
And Bob, could we have you cycle your WVS?
That time it was off. Like your safety tether is around the light there.
Is that what it is? The light?
Yeah, it looks like it's below the light. Okay, the green hook is tethered to the forward D-ring.
Copy.
Wheel is unlocked.
Copy, and gate close hook locked.
You need the green hook locked? Is the question?
Affirm, we need the green hook locked.
Okay, the green hook is locked.
Copy. With that, you can release your yellow hook and stow it on your mini workstation and ingress the airlock.
The yellow hook is stowed on my new workstation. I will ingress the airlock.
Copy.
for International Space Station assembly and maintenance. It was the 5th conducted this year in 2020, the 2nd spacewalk for Expedition 63. The 8th in Cassidy's career, his career total at 43 hours and 22 minutes. For Behnken, his total is 49 hours and 41 minutes, also his 8th spacewalk. He's now 11th on the all-time list for most cumulative time of spacewalking in EVA history. Today's spacewalk began at 6:13 a.m. Central Time, ending at 12:14 p.m. for 6 hours and 1 minute duration.
And the crew lock is about equal to 0.
Of the 229 spacewalks, the total time of all 229 adds up to 60 days and 34 minutes of total spacewalking time.
I think we both did it, Chris.
First into the equipment lock is Bob Behnken. Anatoly Ivanushin from Roscosmos coming into the equipment lock to help in the these final steps to remove the suits from Behnken and Cassidy. First step is the removal of that SAFER unit, Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. This is on the bottom portion of their sort of backpack of the EMU, the extravehicular mobility unit. As NASA astronaut Doug Hurley works to get Behnken and Cassidy out of their suits, aided by Ivan Wagner and Anatoly Ivanushin from Roscosmos. A quick summary of some of the activities from today's spacewalk. Cassidy and Behnken both successfully installed the final lithium-ion battery onto the 1B channel of the starboard 6 truss. All batteries were checked out, and all 3 are able to store power on the 1B channel. That completes the upgrades to 7 of 8 power channels on the International Space Station. There's one more left. Cassidy and Behnken will go out the hatch once again at the end of this month to complete that final channel. They already got some work done ahead of time to prep for some of that work, including installing some handling and translation aids, also storing some portable foot restraints, and braking torque of some of the batteries, all of the batteries that they'll be removing and replacing with new lithium-ion batteries, again coming up later this month. They were also able to address some tasks that were originally on a long list of get-ahead tasks over the course of the 2 spacewalks that were designated for upgrading the 1B channel. But Cassidy and Behnken got way ahead of the schedule, especially on the last spacewalk, doing most of the work, so they were able to address a lot of the get-ahead tasks, including the routing of power and Ethernet cables on the outside of the International Space Station. One of the get-aheads was to remove an H fixture on the mast canister of one of the station's solar arrays. This is some preparation work and one of the original get-aheads for some future power upgrades. Behnken was unable to remove that H fixture, but again, this was one of the get-aheads, so it gives the flight operations teams plenty of time to come up with new procedures and techniques to get that H fixture removed on a future spacewalk. The crew also opted not to remove a lens filter that was on one of the external cameras. Again, another task that can be addressed on a later spacewalk. The primary task of upgrading the 1B channel is complete, and they even got a head start on the 3B channel to be completed later in July.